Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Pink Edit podcast, hosted by Eleanor. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I hope everyone is doing good, having a good day. But by the time I'm filming this, I only have a week left at university. Crazy. Not like in my actual university, but living at my accommodation. But I've actually been looking really forward to moving back home, which I think is kind of like a surprise to quite a few people because you would think like, oh, at uni, like you don't really want to move back home because you gain that independence, you get to see your friends like almost every day, stuff like that. But honestly, I'm actually so excited to move home. And this kind of leads into today's topic for the episode, which is loneliness versus solitude. So actually there is a difference between loneliness and solitude, which I actually didn't even know about solitude until not even GCSE, A-level English Lit, because it's usually not a word used quite often in daily conversations. But yes, there is a difference. And just a quick Google, it says solitude is the positive chosen state of engaging with yourself, offering a sense of peace and mental reset. Loneliness is an emotional state characterized by distressing feelings of disconnectedness or exclusion, which can persist even when you're surrounded by people. And honestly, personally speaking, I'm more in the solitude area. When I mean more, I mean basically all myself is in the solitude area. I don't really feel lonely anymore, not compared to when I was younger. I think social pressures and expectations, and also just changing social perspectives of being alone nowadays have changed a lot. Of course, there's two different types all on social media. And good examples of that. Solitude, it's more like the solo date stuff, solo diaries, because I feel like that shines very like a positive mental attitude and light towards like people who may feel alone. Just like it is okay to be alone and by yourself. There's so much things that you can do alone and by yourself, and it just shows that you're actively choosing yourself and making sure that your physical and your mental state is in a better like way, in a better like position, because I feel like if you are more stuck in a negative loneliness thing, it is like very draining, and it takes a lot of energy to just even worry about being alone. But a good example of loneliness is the male loneliness epidemic, where obviously as you can tell if you've been on social media, that like men, specifically men, are like don't have partners, and it's like quote unquote an epidemic, like they're actively wanting a relationship. That is like the difference that I can, like the good examples that I can use. I feel like a lot of people, especially those who become this phenomenon called the floater friend, used to feel this whole loneliness feeling, the more negative of like the draining. Why don't I have a solid group of friends? Like I'm friends with everyone, but why don't they choose me? Stuff like that. And I feel like as part of that group of people nowadays, I feel a lot more happier alone. That solitude, like the loneliness changed to solitude, actually is quite nice for me. Like I said, when I was at school, I was a floater friend, and a floater friend is basically like somebody who is friends with a lot of people, but those people are in different groups, and this person just kind of go between all the groups because you can get along with basically everyone. But the thing is with that those people you're friends with wouldn't actively choose you as their first choice, if that makes sense. So this actually upset me a lot when I was younger. I would always go home and tell my parents, like, with my friends and stuff, but like once I gotten closer with my parents where I can end up telling them more deeper stuff, I would actually like cry about this and tell my dad, like, I don't understand why I don't have friends, even though, like, quote unquote, I have friends at school. And what I mean by that is, like, why don't these people ever like treat me like a friend, or like actively seek to choose me, if that makes sense? And to be honest, I feel like that has happened at university as well. Um, I would think it would change at university because it's like a fresh start, new people, you don't know anyone. But I don't know if anyone who is listening to this um was a floater friend when they were at school. Have you become a floater friend at college/university? I'm actually quite curious to find out. Unless it's just a me thing. Um, then to be honest, I actually wouldn't be surprised because I would also tell my dad, like, I don't know what I've done. Possibly I've done something, especially at school, because obviously you're stuck with these people for a good minimum 5 years, and some of them 7, because if you have 6 of them at school, then you're stuck with them for 7 years, you know? Um, but yeah, and I would say possibly I've done something. I don't know what I have done, because, you know, I don't I don't understand where it's coming from or whatever. Yeah, I got kind of quite, not even kind of, quite confused, especially when I was younger. Like, I just didn't understand why these people who are friends with me and, who are fine being friends with me wouldn't actively choose me first. And they always seek out other people every single time before they come and find me. A really good example of this is actually like this person I was friends with at school, and I think, was it year 8 or year 9, we actually became really good friends, even though we started off like, she kind of didn't like me. She really hated me in year 7. And then for some reason, then we became friends in year 8 and stuff. And she invited me to her birthday party, which was at a trampoline park, but I was literally the last option. I don't even know why I went anyways, because like that was just so fucking stupid of me. But she actively said in front of me, like, oh, I invited, because she already invited like 4 people already and someone had to drop out. And she says, oh, this person dropped out, that's why I asked you. And I just thought, wow, great. But I don't even know why stupid young me decided to still go, because I was just, when you look back at it, you just like, that's just fucking stupid. Why the fuck would you actually go to the party after she said that to you? And so yeah, but probably just didn't learn my lesson, because I knew that person, like, I can't say she didn't like me at some point, because even though, like, obviously we started off really bad in year 7, like during lockdown when we were still friends, she actually dropped off a birthday gift at my house. Like, if you were not friends with me, you wouldn't do that, if that makes sense. Because if I pretended to be friends with somebody, I wouldn't go out my way to drop off a birthday gift at the door of that person's house during a global pandemic. Like, I'm not being funny, but that just wasn't gonna happen. But yeah, anyways, and then we ended up not being friends after year 11. So after school, like initial school finished, she just kind of blew up on me. I don't know. So yeah, anyways, yeah, and then obviously quite a few people I stopped being friends with is because, like, they did some really nasty stuff towards me. I will not elaborate what they did, but yeah, you wouldn't expect them to do it because you expect them to be your friend. So yeah, anyways, Like, personally, to say, obviously, like I said, I'm more on the solitude part nowadays, and I cannot give a fuck if I'm by myself. I find more peace and more like quote unquote zen when I'm by myself. This is not to shit on my friends who are actually friends with. Like, they're really nice to me, and obviously I'll try and keep in touch with them. But it's just like sometimes when it's like a social battery thing as well. Like, after a couple hours or like the day, I just need to go home and be by myself, and just decompress, you know? And I just learnt the hard way that personally, I would say I rather live by myself or with my parents, or like, with my family, than live with roommates or flatmates. That's in general. Even if they were my really good friends, I would rather just see them. If they live next door, that's fine. But if they live in the same house, I don't think I can be like that. Of course, I know even when some people are older, they still actively seek out, somebody to fill in this like gap. It could even mean a physical gap, but like, when you're lonely, it's more about like saying being by yourself is not enough. Like, you need to be surrounded by like even a minimum of one person or half a person if you really want. Um, and I think that's okay, but sometimes I feel like you shouldn't rely on other people for your happiness. Your happiness should come first, whereas like putting yourself first, and that if people make you feel like shit or they treat like, you're their last option, you at this point you shouldn't get upset about it, because it feels like if you feel like you expect it, then you know, there's no, you shouldn't put expectations on other people. You have to find that peace by yourself until you're actually happy than just being with other people. Personally, it's more like putting yourself first, and that if by chance somebody treats you like shit, or you end up being by yourself, that it doesn't hurt you as much as you expect to be hurted. No, like, what am I saying? Saying that like you should basically expect kind of that disappointment sometimes. And I'm not saying that that disappointment appears all the time. It's just sometimes it will happen, and that it shouldn't be something that ruins your entire day or makes you feel like absolute crap. Because that's what I've learned a lot over these past couple of years at university, is that like obviously everyone's different and stuff, and you can't put expectations on other people, because things will happen, or like events will happen, and it's just unavoidable sometimes, so that there's no point in getting upset about it. Yeah, it just happens, Obviously, every once in a while, I still feel a little shit, just like thinking, like, why have I had this problem since I was younger? Where, like, it's not saying I can't make friends. I can't make friends. I've made a lot of friends, but it's like sometimes I can't keep these friends. And a lot of the time, personally, obviously, like, I think I haven't done anything wrong, because when, you know, you don't think you've done anything wrong because you don't notice yourself doing it sometimes. But when you really think hard about it and you're thinking of like what you've actually done, or you think, or like think over back the events of the day or what you've done for the day or whatever, especially when you hung out with people, like you're just really analyzing, deep thought thinking of like your actions or what you said, and you can't find anything that you've done wrong, then obviously I understand why people get upset of like, why are my quote unquote friends don't actively choose or seek me out if they've said we are friends, you know? And obviously, like I said, I have thought of like, why aren't people my friends or whatever? And honestly, I obviously don't know if I done anything or said anything to, well, not everyone. Obviously, I can't remember or whatever. But yeah, but honestly, contrary to it, overall, I just do not give a fuck if I'm by myself. I actually prefer to be by myself than be around people. So basically, conclusion for myself is that I found out I'm not a people's person, and I really much rather be by myself. So I don't actually know how that's going to be if I have a partner. I would say we will find out, but I don't know if we will find out, guys, because I sound very content in just living by myself with my cats in the future. Not even just cats, like whatever pet I want, to be honest. Yeah, I'm very content on doing that, to be honest. And to be honest, I'm very accepting of being by myself. I know some people might have the anxiety or can't accept that. Like sometimes they'll be by themselves, or you just like everyone's busy or whatever. Something's come up, they cannot. Your friends cannot be there for you all the time, and that makes sense. That's fine, but personally, like I said, I have said this to my dad a lot of times. If the only definition I run my friends from, like the definitions of what friends are, is that they are there for you when you need it and you do the same back for them. It's not a one-sided fit thing. Ugh, a one-sided thing. It should never be a one-sided thing, because relationships, whether they romantic or platonic, the whole point of relationship that it goes both ways. It doesn't go just one way. So if you ever feel like with your friends or anything that it feels like you're doing all the work, sorry to break it to you, honey, but I feel like you should be not friends with them, or really think about it and possibly slowly step back from the whole thing, because honestly, if that's a constant thing in your life, it, even if you don't notice it sometimes, because obviously if it chips your confidence or it chips at your like your mental, or thinking like, why do they never choose me, this negative like whole energy and aura thing will slowly break you apart. But unfortunately that broke me really quickly because it happened every day of my life. So yeah, unfortunately, coming from somebody who's experienced this in a fast moving pace instead of a slow one, sometimes it's not worth wasting your energy and your thoughts on people like that, because if you do it for them and they don't do it for you, it just literally means they don't give a fuck about you, unfortunately. And even if you haven't done anything wrong, like, I don't know what to say, to be honest, because sometimes you just can't control people, and everyone works differently, have different thought processes, and think of different things all the time. That it's just gonna happen. So yeah, that is why I'm pretty excited to move home, even if like I'm still surrounded by people when I'm home, because my parents obviously, like, we live together all the time. Duh. It's just saying like they're around you and they know what you're like, that my parents can understand why I need my space, or it's just that it's just a normal thing of me being in my room a lot by myself. It's like majority of times, like 95% of the time in my house, like I'm in my room. After work, I'm in my room. It's not very often I go and like hang out with my dad in the living room, or go and annoy my mum just like about anything. But it does happen, just not a lot. and I'd rather do whatever I like in my room, if that is lying in my bed watching doom scrolling TikTok or reading something or organizing my room at 12 a.m., rearranging it, so be it. Or if it's me learning a new dance or whatever it is I'm doing in my room, I much prefer it that way, and my parents know that. So yeah, very excited to move home. But talking about moving home, of course, I'll still be doing YouTube when I'm at home, and we will see what I'll be doing after I move home, job and stuff like that, guys. Okay, but let me know if you're listening to this on YouTube. Let me know in the comments if you want kind of like a reorganizing series on the channel, because when I go home, of course, I need to unpack all my crap from uni, and of course, that's going to be a lot of stuff. Obviously, like I said, I don't think I've said, because I'm filming the video right now, but I am trying to get rid of some stuff where it's like either selling it or donating it. But because I have, and I literally genuinely mean it, I have too much stuff. And I also need to reorganize the kitchen and my bedroom and the bathroom, because it's something I actually enjoy. I like to reorganize and clean. If you're actually interested in like a mini series of that, because of course with my bedroom I have a lot of stuff and I want to reorganize a lot of things and see if I need to get rid of a lot of stuff too, like a lot of stuff that I just not interested in anymore, because my interests have changed since starting uni, and even since like school. So yeah, let me know if you're interested in that, because I will be actively just clearing out anyways when I go home. So if you want me to make that into a series, I would love to. But of course, like I said, that'll be when I fully move home. But recently, because obviously I am free from uni, besides working, recently, of course, this is going to be a mini catch up compared to the last episode, because that was filmed quite a while ago. Since that last filming of that last episode, I did go home for a couple days, and then I did go to London for a couple days, which by the time this episode is out, the London vlog will be out the same week, so make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel to watch that. I had a lot of fun. I went with my friend, and then when I came back, I went to work, and then this week just gone, I had my home friend stay with me for a couple of days. Yes, I know that's almost like everything against what I just said, but it was really nice to have her come down for a couple of days, though, to just kind of spend some time, and took her out to see some other places in my uni city. But yeah, that's about it, really. And this next week I will be going home again. I just need to go home, honestly. But I only come back because the weekend I work, and next weekend, as in this weekend when this episode is out, it's my last weekend at my job at university. So just gonna finish that and then properly head home. I'm really excited to move home. But yeah, honestly, this episode is going to be quite short, to be honest, because I feel like I gotten a lot of stuff out in a short amount of time, and I try to slow my talking down, because I know sometimes I speak too fast. I do everything a little too fast. I actually can't control it at all. It's just grown up in an environment where you just have to move fast, so it's like a habit now, and I can't break out of it. So unfortunately, I will never be able to slow down a bit until I go old. But I have found some little kind of like a little reflection bit for this solitude versus loneliness. It's just that sometimes we're in a world we move so quickly, it's so fast paced, there's always something new, and like we are so addicted to our phones and scrolling and stuff like that. I feel like solitude is a very good way to kind of break away from all that and give yourself time and just like peace to just either think about just your life or just nothing, just as long as you are not like constantly turned on by notification and sounds, when I mean sounds, I mean like from your phone, stuff like that, because obviously in a world where like there's constant noises all the time, especially like cars, stuff like that, you need time to turn off and just, I guess, meditate or something like that. It doesn't have to be meditation. You could just stare at a wall if you really want to. I like to stare at my ceiling because lying in my bed is a bit more comfier than sitting up straight. Hack. But yeah, I think it allows you to slow down a bit sometimes and actually care for yourself better. It's like kind of taking yourself on a date, especially if you're like, say, solo diary type of thing where you go and take yourself out for a day out or just for a walk or something. That's still a self date, and it's like, it shouldn't be a thing where it's looked down upon in society, where you go out for like, say, dinner by yourself, lunch by yourself, shopping by yourself, because it's actually totally okay. And I know in some societies that is like such a normal thing, when I know, like, say for example in Japan, it's quite normal to eat by yourself, but that's because of like the working like expectation and environment over there. But like it's so normal to eat by yourself. Like, it shouldn't be a thing where you're nervous to be like, oh, I don't want people to see me eat by myself. Who cares? If you want to eat by yourself, eat by yourself. If people can't accept that, that's just kind of sad that they cannot survive a day without noise, basically, whether it's like talking to your friends in real life or talking to them over Snapchat or sending TikToks. Like, just, you need time for yourself, and that's really, really important. It's just as important as saying like social interaction type of stuff. But general overtake that you should take for yourself is that I think it's really good to learn how to recognize when you feel lonely versus when you feel the solitude, and kind of, if you do feel lonely, you kind of have to learn how to change that. Question yourself, is that, are you running away from being by yourself, or are you lonely? Like, no, are you running away from yourself as in like you're very lonely and the only way that you are content is with other company, or are you okay with being by yourself? Like, it is quite an important question if you're like starting to need to turn to solitude. When I started it, I kind of like was so desperate to be with friends or seem busy talking to friends that I kind of didn't really realize that was actually part of what was hurting my mental a lot, was that like this constant chase of needing validation from other people. And although it's okay to actually go and talk to people, actually actively seeking this approval is so damaging. And I feel like we need to teach a lot of young people that loneliness, like seeing somebody by themselves, is not funny. Like, it's not something to make fun of people for. Because personally, that I think if you accepted solitude, you're actually the one winning. And it's kind of sad that like if you're making fun of somebody who is alone, you know? And it just shows that, like, I'm never saying that being with friends is a bad thing. It's just that, like, I feel like it's a bit messed up that you rely on other people more than you rely on yourself. So yeah, make sure that you are actually content with by yourself, because I feel like that's the best way to kind of, like, what do I call this? Like, it's the best way to feel happier about yourself, and that your energy is not constantly drained by these negative thoughts. Honestly, it feels much better coming from somebody who's now fully content being by themselves. It's much better. I'm not in a constant state of like worry, or just like, you know, a lot of energy draining, and it literally so bad that it, like, I was in mood swings all the time. Definitely much better now. And, you know, like I said, I'm much happier just being by myself. And I've learned that through loads of just experiences. But I'm glad I went through those experiences to find out what I'm actually happy about. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know sometimes when I speak I cannot get out sentences out properly, but I hope it kind of made more sense, even though sometimes it's hard to put into words. But like I said, like, it comes from like my personal experiences, and this is not just promoting me that like you have to shut everyone out. As long as you have a good balance of it, and that you feel content and happy about yourself, that what matters the most. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're listening to this on YouTube. Make sure you turn on the post notifications to be notified when another episode comes out, or when another regular scheduled YouTube video comes out. If you're listening to Spotify, make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and download whatever. Like I said, I don't really understand this Spotify thing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to take care of yourselves, and I will speak to you next episode. Love you all. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.